This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, we're recording, so I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It looks like we largely have the committee plus fire.
Yes, my deputy, my fill-in.
Okay, sounds good. I just meant in terms of my open time for public input.
Could I have his name for the minutes?
Richard Feasibility.
F-I-Z?
F-A-S-O-L-I.
Thank you.
Did you hear from Barbara?
I did not.
Okay. Just wondering, she wasn't here at the last meeting either, I'm just wondering.
No, I hadn't.
Oh, was she?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Did everyone receive the minutes that Christina sent out? Any comments on the minutes?
I have one. I know it's adding more work to this, but could we take and put something like present or absent for 20 members so that we know who actually attended the meeting?
That's at the top.
Top right?
In the box? Yep, in the box.
Well, if that's the case, I wasn't here at the last meeting.
I know
Right, it says members absent.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, there you go. Obviously, I'm getting older. Very efficient, thank you.
It's okay.
I'm gonna have to start reading.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from April 25th.
I will just say that Cindy pointed out my inconsistency in referring to Rini as MG and RG, so I did make that correction, but I guess these have been printed out with the without the correction.
Oh, sorry about that. I must have grabbed the old one.
Yeah, and that's, no, I didn't send it to you, I had sent it to Ed, at Reni's suggestion, so.
Okay.
So those are, RGs have been replaced with MGs.
Okay. Sounds good.
Did you get who seconded that?
So you moved,
I moved to Broom and Chief Workman.
okay. And can I just ask a quick question about Richard Fazoli? Is he here as a guest, or is he here as a substitute? Or is he part of the, he's not part of the committee? He's here as a guest.
Substitute, so I just wanted to.
Okay, very good.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
All in favor of approving the minutes as written with the one noted initial change?
Aye.
Aye.
Charlie, are you voting or abstaining?
No, just abstaining, I wasn't here last time.
Sounds good.
So that was unanimous with one abstention?
Yes.
Okay.
Senior center update? We have that kind
Yeah,
of as a standing.
Ed's out all week, so I wasn't at the last meeting. I was away last week, so but I did get an update from somebody else today when I knew he wasn't going to be here. So they met last Thursday. This is the Senior Center Building Feasibility Committee. We're having an agenda item for this committee and the other committee so that we can keep sharing information, since Ed and I generally go to both meetings. So anyway, they created, Andrew LaFosse, who lives in Medford, is on the committee, and I think his background is engineering, and he created a project timeline. And the hope is that they will be ready to generate an RFQ by the mid to end of June. They reviewed the population statistics now and into the future. The current senior population in Southampton, based on the 2022 census, is 2,059 seniors over age 60, which is 33% of the population. And they expect that to go up.
Over what age? I'm sorry.
60 plus is 2,059. Attorney Amanda Zadonis Kemp was at the meeting. So the thing is, Cheryl Parker was the attorney that met with Mr. Parsons and developed the will. She is not continuing, so Attorney Kemp is in the process, is trying to interpret certain things that were written, so that still reference to final plan keeps coming up. So she was there, she had spoken to Cheryl Parker, they came up with a final definition of final plan, which means decide what you're going to do. Are you going to use an existing building? Are you going to identify a particular site? It doesn't mean that you have to build anything. So that was helpful. They also, they had 2 other guests at the meeting, some folks from Lifespan who design senior centers, and also engineers from EDM. This combination of people or companies designed the South Hadley Senior Center and also the Hadley Senior Center, which are both recent senior centers. And so they came and they made some recommendations on the whole process. I was told that it was incredibly helpful. It is recorded, by the way, so I'll definitely try to check it out. But what they said was, do not limit yourself to the Route 10 corridor because it's not good necessarily for seniors to be pulling into a busy intersection or a bad corner. So they are expanding their land search a little bit, and they're going to be requesting Ty and Bond to do some overlay maps. And they also recommended at least 2 acres. Hadley is built on, I think, 10,000 square feet on an acre and a half, but they also share the parking lot with the library, and there was some controversy in Hadley too about the veterans, there was some concession that was made in the process of building that. So anyway, that's basically it. They are meeting again this Thursday at 12:30, and they're going to be looking at some overlay maps, but they're looking a little bit wider. And there's been, suggestions about doing something in conjunction with the church, doing something in terms of like the old town hall, but they haven't really started looking at lands. They ran out of time. They had a busy enough meeting last time with just getting some timelines and recommendations. So that's it.
What was the date of that meeting?
The date of it was last Thursday, 5/5.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions or anything on that?
Again, I wasn't there, but this is what what I heard.
Before we move on to the lots, I should have said this right at the beginning. Would it be possible to limit the meeting to 6 o'clock and not carry on overtime like we did last week? And generally limit it from 4:30 to 6, is that an agree?
Yeah, I think it's a good
Are you in
idea.
agreement? Generally. And because there are so many lots to consider, I was wondering if we should readjust the agenda to fill in, to get through the others, because that's what took us over last week, is trying to fit in the other items on the agenda, or set a time limit for the potential lots so that there is time for the other agenda items.
Yeah, I'm all for not going past 6, to be honest.
Well, there are
But-
many meetings, I think, that of consideration of potential lots. so-
Yeah, no, I mean, that's our main goal at the moment, I think, is consideration of potential lots. I know we'd had the discussion with the OSHA inspection last time, and I know Ed's not here again this time, so we could, well, Ed's not here this time, so we could discuss it again today, or we could not. I actually didn't have it on for today. It had more about, if we wanted to talk about target dates again, just in terms of like a timeline. My concern, to be honest, with the OSHA inspection, and like we had last time, would just be I don't want to derail our time looking at lots for a new facility, talking about the existing facility. And not that it's not important, and I think it is something that needs to be discussed or come to a solution on. But I agree, we have a lot to talk about, and going past 6 is a challenge.
Yeah, we just made a decision. I don't think it would be in the way any longer. So we do or we don't.
Is it something we would talk about today, or does Ed need to be present really to have that discussion?
I would
Anyway.
feel more comfortable if Ed was here.
Otherwise, you'd have to repeat everything for Ed, so.
Yeah, so if it's okay with you, Chief Workman, I guess
Yeah,
we'll,
and kick it down the road some more. Works.
okay. And then, so the other, we have subcommittee reports, I don't think there's much on there. So target dates is you know, I had wanted to bring up again just to see where we want to be, but I think the main thing we have for the next hour and 20 minutes is the status of potential lots.
Can I just say something about the timeline?
Yeah.
Just because I think that I think we should have a timeline, or we should have a target date for when we hope to be able to report back to the select board. I also think that right now we happen to have this thing called ARPA funds, which, I mean, if we're thinking about needing money for a feasibility study, we're going to town meeting on June 7th. We already have all the requests for articles and things like that. The ready availability of money is ARPA. And so right now we have a meeting, I think that's being set up the 17th or 18th of May, specifically to review what's been presented so far for ARPA funds. I'm not thinking we're going to run out of funds, but I just think that we're not going to get, you know, money thrown at us for a feasibility study. This is our best, you know, source of funds, I think, for updating a feasibility study for the Public Safety Committee, you know, the building. So I just want to keep that in mind, that we have a total of $1.8 million that have to be spent by 2024, and we have a good number of applications. For example, the Water Department submitted an application for $1.8 million. So that's, I'm only one person on the committee, so I'm just saying that we'll probably, you know, try to fund other things too. So anyway, just want everybody to keep that in mind, that applications are going to be starting to be reviewed probably within a week, and possibly start to, you know, like say, yes, that qualifies, that would be a good use of the funds.
So is there a due date for those to be, could something be submitted and still be reviewed?
It's rolling.
Okay.
But I just want people to just keep that in mind.
I mean, it might not hurt to start that, I'd be curious everybody else's opinion, but start that concurrently, apply for those funds for a because if we wait till we have a lot and then apply for funds for a feasibility study, we could be waiting for 6 weeks or.
I agree.
Do you need a motion for that?
I guess, so just to clarify, there's a form to submit an online.
It's on the webpage, and it's a form fill. Did you fill out one?
Yes.
Was that hard to do?
No.
Okay, I created a form fill
You have to
application.
know what type of money you're requesting, though, so I think that's what
Okay.
exactly is the
Well, not-
feasibility
yeah.
study going to be based on.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm not saying
I
that
don't
we
know.
need to do something right now. I just want the committee to, like, unless you have other ideas for the funding of a feasibility study, it just seems to me like I just want people to keep that in mind that that seems to be the most logical, unless the legislators do something, you know, that's gonna, nothing's gonna happen right away. So I don't think we need to do anything now, and I think the charge of the committee really doesn't include that. It says go back to the select board. But I just want everybody to be aware that, you know, I think we should keep moving, and that would mean securing funds for feasibility committee. But it might, I don't think that it's a today thing. I just,
Okay.
Are we going to miss the opportunity, Rini?
I don't think so.
If it's not put before the select board as, you know, potential use of the ARPA funds?
No, I don't think we're going to spend, we haven't even gotten all the funds for it. I think we've gotten half of it. So I don't think that's going to be an issue, but I just, since we mentioned timeline and target dates and all that, I just, and the senior center already has the money to actually do the feasibility study because they can use the will. I just don't want to lose track. I don't even know if this committee even supports using that, you know, filling out an application. All I'm saying is, since we're talking about timeline or target dates, I just want to make sure that people keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Out of curiosity, what do we need to have accomplished before going for that money in the application? Do we just need to like have a lot that we're looking at?
I think we should have, this is what the engineers told the senior center. Identify 3 to 4 properties that are high on the list. And then we created a list of ideally what would be in a senior center. And then we got advice from these lifespan and EDM engineers. And so I think there's a list that's already generated by the senior center on what would be important things to have in a senior center. So I think, I'm guessing, and some of you that have gone through this process before, I know you have, right?
Yeah, because,
Haven't you too, John?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we have to kind of revisit what should be in the center, and then that would be, I guess, the basis of the feasibility study.
I know last time we've done it with the, we've done the plan. We sat down and went over what our needs might be.
Good choice.
Could we just simply ask our liaison to the select board to ask the selectmen to keep in mind that we need about $50,000 for a feasibility study at this point until we get 3
Yeah.
lots that we are interested in? At least this will let the select board know.
Yeah,
that.
I'm happy to do that, but it's gonna be more than $50,000. I'm pretty sure that I think the senior center had planned on between 60 and 75.
So let's say.
Yeah,
100 just for-
I'll definitely mention it when we end up having the ARPA. Absolutely. I have to report from the committee anyway.
That way there, at least they know
Yeah,
that something is coming.
yeah,
But I would think we'd still have to submit an application.
Yeah.
I don't think it's our place to submit an application.
oh, after,
Not
All of
if we
it
read
is.
our charter,
huh?
the charter of this committee.
Yeah, right, that might be down the road more.
I agree that
right.
way,
But then
right
when,
now-
yeah, I think that right now it's come back to the select board with, the top lands. And that can happen sooner rather than later. And then I think from there, there'd be additional charges, all right, now come up with a list of what should be in the center and,
Yeah, and I agree with you there.
Yeah.
But right now, the way. it's
right. But it would be this committee that would fill out the application, probably you.
That's fine.
Yeah, but you're right, I think it would be after going back to the select board and then after creating the list of what should be in the complex.
Okay, all right, so for now, I think going back to lots, because it sounds like identifying 3 to 4 properties, which we're in progress of. Mark, last time we had talked about the town-owned lots, you were gonna take a look?
Yeah, I looked at several of them, and I had a difficult time finding deeds to some of these parcels, and registered deeds. Usually you look up easy and there's, a common deed, but,
Visit them.
yeah, so I did not find any on River Road. That's- I looked through around the rest of them, I did see anything scary, exciting, but you could not find any deed of the River Road parcel.
I
Okay.
suspect the River Road one is down by the river, and it's in a floodplain, and we wouldn't want to build there anyway.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we said,
We looked at
Charlie,
it.
we looked at it.
Is that, are you meaning Riverdale Road? Is that the canal
Yeah.
property, or where the canal flows?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So Riverdale Road, not River Road.
Riverdale.
Riverdale Road.
And there were 2 parcels listed. Are both of those, will we strike both of those off the list?
I would say yes, because it's so bad.
That's kind of what we said last time too, yeah.
Right.
So 2 parcels on Riverdale Road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're striking.
So,
As you overlay the flood map on there, you'll see that.
Yes, in the floodplain.
Okay.
So we have the property on Gun Road, basically the Norris School property. We have the 7-acre highway department site on Fomer Road, and then we have this site where we are now, and, well, the existing fire station, and then we have Moose Brook Road, near the transfer station. Those are the existing properties we're looking at for public, or for town-owned land at this point. Is everybody in agreement on that? So, there's,
Excuse me. Why are we not looking at the property on College Highway?
which property on College Highway?
These are town-owned.
Town-owned.
I'm just talking town-owned right now.
Will there be an opportunity to consider?
Private? Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the town-owned real quick and then move on to private, is all. So in terms of town, we have those 4. I guess for further development, we potentially bring those to the select board, or do we want to cut that list down further before we then move on to private land? Is there, I know,
I can express my feelings doing this if you want to hear them.
sure.
The former road highway department would automatically double our cost of the public safety complex because we'd have to reconstruct the highway department on another parcel. So I don't look at that as a selling point.
But there's 7.1 acres there. There was consideration last week about possibly using some of that land, some of that extra land. And my afterthought on that was that, I think it was you, Chief, who suggested, or maybe Chief Workman, that they use all that 7 acres for storage And then it was talked about, I think it was you, Chief Illingsworth, who said that the land over on Moose Brook Road, there was a reason to be cautious with it. But I wondered if that is, since it is 7 acres at Fomer Road, whether some of the stored materials that are currently on Fomer Road could be moved over there to the transfer station easily. I would not recommend discluding that at this time.
Yeah, I think,
If you look at the 7 acres that the highway department's at, right in the center of that in the back is the salt shed. That would mean removing that. We also have Charter Communications building out there.
which they need to get rid of.
But the point is, it's still there, and it's the hub communications for the town. That would be another alligator in a pond to have to be removed. And thirdly, if you put fire and police in the back where the salt shed is, you're going to have a driveway issue when you have to deal with the highway trucks and the emergency vehicles all exiting in the same driveway pattern.
Yeah, I don't think we're thinking that far ahead in terms of that. I think that my preference would be to remove Moose Brook because of toxic, I don't want, I mean, the whole idea is getting people away from sites that might be not safe. I'll ask Chief Illingsworth maybe to speak to that, because I think that...
I don't remember, I don't recall, saying somebody did mention something about that.
I'm
but
sorry,
it was not.
I misidentified you.
About the gases and so forth coming from the landfill. Is that what we're referring to?
No.
Oh, it was the logs being buried.
Right.
The tree stumps being
Right,
buried.
unstable land
Yes,
is what
that's
you
what
were.
it was.
Yeah, and then also the, possibly even Gun Road land, just because it doesn't seem feasible for the small little parking lot or the driveway to the, side of the school, and it doesn't seem like there's a really good option to access that back land any other way. So for me, I think that the highway is higher up on my list than the other two. If we had to just go with 2 town-owned lands, my preference would be the Fulmer Road and the existing fire station.
Is that the target here, to have 2 town-owned and 2 privately owned, top 2 town-owned, top 2 privately owned? I'm just asking because it would be, if we said, okay, what are the best 2, that might be an easier way to look at it in terms of narrowing it down.
Well, I don't think that was specified. It just says, I think the charge just said priority to town-owned land, and I think they might have even said a couple of sites. But I don't see any problem with just keeping ones on the list if anybody in this room thinks that they should still be on the list.
Christina, to refresh my memory, the Historical Commission they're not in favor of necessarily preserving the old firehouse, correct?
Yes, the determination was that it's not suitable because of the alterations that have been made. It's not suitable for what is called preferential preservation.
Right.
It means that if our opinion was asked today, the current commission would not vote to impose a demolition delay.
Okay. So
it
could
could
be
come
raised
down.
without opposition?
It will be, yes, it will be without opposition.
Okay.
And
That's good to know.
that would change everything that was worked on several years ago. Because everything we worked on years ago was to preserve that building.
Okay, so I guess my question is, we have these 4. Do we want to narrow that down at all? Are there any that anyone would like to move to remove from that list? Charlie?
I'd remove the school part. I would much rather keep that land in case we have to do something at the school. And I think the Gun Road, you can't pull on Route 10, that's a certainty. So I just don't see it as an enhancement of doing something with it. So I'd take that off the list.
Well, in terms of rationale, I propose that we do narrow it down just as a general concept, because I think that's what the expectation is, that we are supposed to be doing the real close look, the close work. If we can't narrow it down and we hand over 3 or 4 town-owned properties to the select board, that's, onerous. It's hard for them to, why? I think we have to give rationale for why we have something on the list and why we removed it. That's my
But
proposal.
I don't think we've done the research yet,
Okay,
myself.
well,
I don't feel comfortable, I just want to make sure, for instance, that a driveway at the Norris School can't be put along the southern border. If it can't, maybe it can, maybe it can't, but if we don't know that, how can we judge it?
I conceptually very much agree with you, Christina. We don't just remove things because we think it's maybe a problem.
I did my own little site build.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
thank
that was-
No, I just think we probably sort of narrowed down the four, and we're having these arguments about whether we should or should not throw them away. I think we need to put in a spreadsheet
I agree.
and say, parcel A, this is the good things and the bad things,
I
and this is
agree.
our vote, let's keep it. Here, parcel B, good things, bad things, this is why we think we ought to look at it again. But us right now talking around three things, I'm getting confused, let's throw this one out, let's keep this one in here.
Well, I agree. So why don't we plan on next meeting, I'll come with, a spreadsheet and basically everybody vote on their top two. And, I would put that out, to be honest, to everybody, to come with whatever research. We all live in town, we all live in town, but everybody knows where these properties are and they're all town-owned land, I was at the playground with my son too, and I was taking a look at the side. I was like, is there room there? And
There's not much.
There's a house, that family has kids too, and that would be
Yeah.
if I lived in that house next to the playground there, I wouldn't be psyched if there was a driveway added there. I don't know,
No,
but,
you'd have to actually move the playgrounds, the ball fields even a little bit more infield because it wouldn't be enough for a driveway. I recognize that too.
Yeah.
When I checked out myself.
Okay, so you have looked at that, but what about access via Gun Road to Pomeroy Meadow? Is that,
Well, that's part of what we would look at.
yeah, I think
Right,
what we should,
right.
do is, I'll add, to that Google Drive, and we can all put in pluses and minuses. I think we shouldn't have any discussion in that. Things can be added to then be discussed here in person. I think we don't want to have any discussions there, and then I think next meeting, we should plan to hopefully narrow it down from 4 to 2. Everybody vote on their top two, we'll allow half an hour or so for discussion of that after research is done, and hopefully get down to 2. Because I agree, I think we're talking a little bit in circles. Is that fair?
and prematurely, I think.
Yeah, so I think anybody who, we have 2 weeks, go take a, everybody take a look. But I think maybe spending the next hour that we have running through some of these lists that Ed had generated for us, which are at the back of this packet here, in terms of, there's still a lot of properties, he had go ahead.
I just want to know, I created this list.
Oh.
I sent it to him and asked him to have his administrative assistant send it out. And so I just want to explain something.
Yeah.
We had talked about looking at vacant land of at least 3 acres, and also any land that was occupied, and I think we talked about 10 acres. But that seemed like a huge amount of land that somebody might want, might have their house on 2 acres and might be willing to sell off a lot or two. So if you agree, we can just cross off, but I did, just so you know, if you look at lot size, it's the list, if we're starting at the half a mile, so basically from the intersection of Route 10 and Center Street, I went a half a mile in each direction and a quarter mile off of Route 10, and created this list so that the vacant land starts with anything over 3 acres, and then the occupied land is anything over 5 acres. So if you think that that's too small to have a lot like the first one there, High Street, 5 acres, if you agree you want to jump down to 10, then we can jump right down to 78 High Street, which is 10 acres. I just wanted you to see which land has buildings on it that also has 5 acres or more. So if you agree that, forget it, we're not going to ask somebody who only has 5 acres to sell off 3 acres for a public safety complex, then we can just cross it all off, starting right with 10 acres. But I just thought I would share with you what came up on the list. Am I making sense?
Yeah, sure. I think personally that 5 acres seems a little tight to divide it, but it will all depend on where. If the house happens to be on the corner or already on the side, maybe it'd be fine.
Okay.
But maybe we jump to, don't know, 7 or, there's kind of a break there between 5.8 and 6.4, rather than cutting it off between 6.98 and 7.04. What are other people's
Yeah.
thoughts?
Well, these are actually the next one. They're in the agenda.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
So the way it's organized is the top list is all the vacant land, and then it says the zoning, the RV is the zoning, the address of the property, and who the owner is. And then the first one is the map, second one is the last total value of the land, and then it has the lot size. So I do have these on a computer. If you want them organized in some other fashion, I can do that. But the first was just the vacant land. I think we had said 3 acres or more, so that's why it's,
Okay, so this first list is the within a half mile of Center Street and within a quarter mile east-west of College Highway, right? That's, there's quite a few on here. Are there any that we can strike right away? Would you guys take?
I would say the first one, High Street number 1 is a very narrow street. You got that, and I know that this person's residence, there's a swamp behind the residence, so I suspect that's what a lot of that 4 acres is on.
Okay.
And the High Street rear, Fred Foible,
yeah, that's a landlocked lot.
Okay, so you can cross.
and being on High Street, I think that one can also be
So
struck.
we're up
So
to,
Coquizina too?
Are we going down the line, or are we?
Yeah,
just
why
crossing
don't we
out High
try and
Street.
do that? So all High Street properties should be crossed off? Is that the thought?
I don't know. What do you think?
High Street, that's across the street, so that's in the field almost behind your house down. So that wouldn't be applicable either. I'm referring to Coquizina.
That's the 57.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll cross out 90 High Street, cross out 57. What about this 16 East Street?
so those people came to the Open Space Committee, the rights. The discussion was, they wondered if the town wanted it, but it is quite wet over there, right on that side of East Street. I think the determination was there wasn't enough space. Charlie, didn't you talk to the
Yeah,
rights?
We did a wetland delineation with Heritage, and we were looking at tying it into Coleman Park,
Yeah.
into the library
Yeah,
parking lot.
Yeah,
But there was no 3 acres that were high and dry.
right.
Okay,
So I think that has to be crossed
so
out.
16's too
Didn't that
east.
land just get sold?
Yeah, in fact, they sold 2 of the houses there and everything else,
Yeah.
and redid all the houses and stuff. So-
But they were looking to subdivide and sell the back end and loved the idea of the town buying it, but we couldn't think of any reason.
And the other part to it is it almost abuts the police station. So the-
It doesn't though. There is
No,
property almost,
But it
yeah.
brought us close enough that if we
Yeah,
wanted to try a link, we could have done something, but because it's all wetlands, it was like, it was a moot point, it just didn't go anywhere.
Okay, so 16 East Street, Ryan Gillehart at 89 Clark Street. I'm not sure where that is.
That's not a number that exists on Clark Street, that's too high, so I can only imagine that's directly across from Comet Park.
it is.
Okay.
It's behind Heritage Surveys,
I think that should be kept on the list. I
Okay.
think that,
I do too, that's an ideal location.
I think it's an ideal location too.
And it's industrially zoned IP, so.
That's good to know. So that's what we'd want for this, would be industrial zoned. Is that, or does it,
I don't believe there's
You're gonna
any
have to have a variance.
applicability relative to the town taking, developing land.
okay.
Say it again, John?
I don't believe there's any applicability relative to the town zoning the land on zoning.
I think we'd have to look at that to be sure.
I know, I've said I think.
Okay, yeah, that would have to be researched to see if we would need a variance or something to
We
do
also
that.
want to check to make sure it's not affected because there's test wells for the fuel station.
Oh, right, you've mentioned that
Yeah,
last
yeah.
time.
The plume that's coming off the fuel station goes right directly behind Heritage Survey before it dissipates out.
The ground floor, yeah.
You'll have to look into that, I think.
Okay, I think it's worth 89 Clark Street leaving on, we'll leave that on for more research.
Keep that, right?
Yep.
17 Maple Street.
So I've actually talked to this woman, Sarah Monroe. She lives in Connecticut. That is right here up at the corner here.
High.
High and Maple. It's practically on the corner. And it's right next to other town-owned land. I think town has a property that actually abuts it, and I can look that up on the assessor's map if
It
you
does,
like.
that's water department land.
It's water department land, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
We
that
looked
I
at
think,
last
I
time.
think should be left on there. It's kind of ideally located, if you will.
But it is up on High Street.
It is on
and
High Street.
Chiefs-
We come
High
right
Street,
down
very
this road
similar.
here.
Yeah.
It's very narrow in the topography, it's high, it's not an ideal place for
Really?
a structure.
Because of the hill and,
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
at least that's my opinion.
any other thoughts on that one? Leave it on, take it off?
I would take it off
I
if
would-
it's where I think it is.
I would take it off.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and take that one off for now. 17 East Street.
17 East Street,
It's Champagne.
yeah, I've been out there, that is prime land,
Mm-hmm.
and it abuts the Greenway
Right.
as well as Elm Street and East Street. When we met with him a number of years ago, his pushback was his children not wanting him to sell. I'm gonna open this up and say, but that was a few years ago.
Yeah.
So that maybe, I'd leave it on the list.
Okay.
I think they may have gotten a letter last time, Charlie.
They-
Yeah, I don't know that we should base anything off, just because things can change with family.
Everything's
Yeah, yeah,
changed, everything's changed, but it was done 5-7 years ago. That's just a
Right,
note.
yeah, no, sounds good. So we'll leave 17 East Street as the second on here. 15 High Street, we're removing all High Street, agreed?
Yeah. And, you know, just, you know, I don't know, some of this we can immediately remove because it's APR, and I didn't have all the information to
I
do
think that's
overlay
APR.
maps on wetlands and all that, so I'm kind of relying on the committee to kind of
The
like,
Janet Brown one, I think, is APR.
yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
And I think Grindstone is.
It is.
Oh,
As far as I know.
But all of
I
Grindstone
don't know.
isn't.
We'd have to look.
Yeah, I think,
It's actually on these maps right behind us here, the APR and the.
I thought the
and Sierra
crosses.
lands.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cindy. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Hmm?
I didn't mean to interrupt, I'm sorry.
I'm mumbling.
I'm not sure what of the old Baronic farm, now Grindstone Farm, is in APR, but I believe there are portions of it that are not.
There's always Elm Street, a good location otherwise.
2433 is APR.
No,
We have to improve the road, that's for sure, but I think that area, I don't know if Grindstone has access from the street to that, because that, I think he borders perhaps Paul Champagne's property.
Oh, so that would be backland access
I think
from
so.
the highway, from the Grindstone
That's
property.
suspicious.
It doesn't have a number, which I think may.
Oh, does it say 0?
It says 14, right? Oh,
No,
that's the lot
14 is
size.
the lot size. It doesn't have a 0, it just doesn't have a number.
Are we
Yeah,
up to
that
Grindstone
could be
or?
backland parallel to
Yeah.
the railroad track.
Right.
Okay, so if that doesn't have street access, it would be taken off. I don't know if there's a
So it's 33, I think, is right here, and it's landlocked.
landlocked. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, yeah, Cindy confirmed it's landlocked.
And
Yeah,
it's
we're talking
also under
from
APR.
here,
Yeah.
Elm Street. And I don't get this lot, I'm thinking this might be, you know, probably something like this or this in here. Well,
I just want to point something out to everybody. If you look down the last listing on this page, it comes up as the 55 acres on Grindstone is because there's a property on there. So don't forget the second list is where there's buildings. So the majority of the Grindstone farm is on Brook College Highway,
Okay.
55 acres. It's just that it came up also on the assessor's map of 14 Elm Street.
see, when they did the APRs, they surveyed out different parcels so that they could utilize them for development, and then they sold the APR lands. Usually the APR lands are the backlands, but sometimes they abut a highway.
This is off of Elm Street.
That's Elm,
Okay. So
yeah.
So why don't, I guess we'll cross off this Grindstone and then Grindstone 187 College Highway is down below. We'll get to that one. 79 Clark Street, Marmon Keystone.
What was that, 2 million?
That was, so, just to give you some background on that, on the previous charge, from the committee, I was asked to reach out to Marmon Keystone, and I did. It's a large corporation, Nationwide Corporation, and they got back to me several months later, their realtor did, and then he informed me that they put it up for sale for $1.7 million. Last week, I got a call from the realtor, and he asked if the town had any interest in this. And I said, well, I can't represent the town, you know, we are looking for places. And I just asked him, I said, is this property something that you'd be interested in breaking up? Or maybe the corporation could be considered breaking up, because I don't think the town is interested in perhaps all 13 acres that's for sale. I said, but again, I can't speak for the town, I'm asking questions. And he said, that's a possibility. And he said, what are you looking for? And I said something around 5-acre range, you know, if that was the case. And again, he said, well, I told him that I would bring it up at this meeting to see if we want to keep this on as a liable. I didn't want to go any further than that because the charge was not to ask the property owners anymore. So
I think it's a good idea to keep it on the list. It certainly is an ideal location.
Yeah.
But you know what, when I was going around to all the businesses in town and dropping off COVID test kits, the first time I went there, I went around the back because it says, you know, go back, there wasn't a soul in sight. Hello? Nobody. Second time I went back, there was one person there. Like, I'm not sure about, are they leaving town too?
I don't believe so.
Okay, it's really downsized, like
Oh,
massively.
it's nothing like it used to be.
Yeah, I
They don't have a
know.
lot of people in the office, I think that could be remote now, but there are people working, you
Okay.
know, cutting the pipes inside the actual
Yeah.
manufacturing.
Yeah, the machines were going, but there were very few people there.
One robot.
So, for the two chiefs, a question, would you consider that an ideal location?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll leave 79 Clark Street on the list.
So that's the third one, right?
That's the third,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay.
32 High Street, we'll eliminate High Street property.
Agree.
0 Fulmer Road, 0, I'm guessing means it doesn't have road access. Do we know if that's?
I don't know why it comes up that way, but it's 22 acres. Do you have any?
2831.
2831? Anybody know where that land is? Don't forget, it has to be within a quarter mile of Route 10, so it came up.
See 31 on here, it's on the corner of Fulmer.
It's 0 Fulmer, so it's somewhere.
28,
Is
30.
it, Rita, can you read this? Because my eyes don't work. Is that 31?
Is it part of Red Brook?
Is that,
It's
a number?
It says 5.88 acres.
Is that 31? Lot 31? That's what I can't read.
This is 31.
It looks,
But this is.
I need
No, it doesn't
a
say
magnifying
31.
glass.
That's not easy to read, though.
Oh, okay, yeah,
28,
it's
31.
just really tiny,
Map
that's all.
28.
Yeah, so
I
that's
don't know where
it.
it is. Do you see number
It's
31 lot?
Fulmer.
Yeah.
I know, do you see lot 31?
Right here, Matthew
That's a
Murphy.
big
Oh,
parcel.
okay.
Yeah.
That does
It's
look
61.
It's in 61A. That means the town has the right of first refusal, what?
yeah, that doesn't mean anything
But
as far as
I
restrictions
know,
go.
That may have a
but I do
potential.
think it goes straight
I can't
uphill.
picture what it
It's
is.
right across from where Virginia Ahart lives,
It's vacant land.
I
Yeah.
think.
Oh,
Okay,
I
I'm
know
just
what it
not
is.
sure.
Yeah, can you see?
That's Mrs. Murphy's. Okay, yeah, that.
Does it go
says
sort
Matthew
of
Murphy.
uphill?
It does, but I thought that land was.
And then there's one lot, I don't know if you can just see the picture here. Here's the lot right here, and then there's one other lot right here, which is
In the middle of it, yeah.
1.66 acres in the middle of it.
Right.
So what were you gonna say about it?
I don't know, it does go up a hill, but it might plateau, I think it plateaus at
Really?
some point.
It does, behind, if I remember right, the house in the middle of that used to be Mrs. Phillips. Remember the school teacher?
Yes.
Mrs.
Oh,
Phillips?
sure,
Yeah.
oh,
And I
okay,
bet
that's
that's
it.
the land around her. The real question is there deed restrictions on that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't
Well,
know.
looks like it's in 61A, but I don't know if there are any other.
Well, I think it's worth looking at.
Yeah.
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 Because
It's a lot
that's
of
the
land,
elevation
so we'll
of the
leave that
above
one
the
on.
wetlands.
Leave that one on.
There's a wet area on it, shows there's a pond there.
Right, yeah, but if we could get next to that lot in the middle goes up a hill, that's all elevated. So if you stay close to that lot, you might be able to get right up on top of that plateau there.
So
Yeah.
you think that's the former Phillips property?
I believe it is.
It-
Well, I think it surrounds.
My
the
notes
former
say
Phillips
it
property.
is,
Phillips,
handwritten
yeah.
notes
Great, okay.
that April did a long time ago.
So we'll leave that on for now. 275 College Highway, Brian Gillagher.
I think that's the old, what was the
Gordon's-
farmer's
Yeah,
name?
Mr. Gordon, Ollie Gordon's property.
Oh, yeah, Gordon, that's right.
So if you would look, if you're pulling out a Fulmer Road, and there's that driveway that has several houses up there, there's fields all in the back. And I think the Clark Street
This is former.
location that Ryan Giller has
Yeah.
now connects the
Right.
two, so we
That's
access
the
access.
access.
Yes.
That's
And
the-
this is
yeah,
Marvin
that's
Keystone,
the
Ryan owns
access to
this,
get in there.
Ryan owns this.
Oh, so it connects them over to Clark.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the connection?
And it's industrially zoned.
I think it should be kept on the list.
Okay, so that really is part of the Clark Street property
Well,
though.
Clark is access to it.
But, and that's the Clark Street property we have above at 89.
It's two different lots,
Same
but they're
owner.
connected, same
Right.
owner.
The only way to get to it would be through Clark Street.
Right, so we'll leave it on there, but they almost need to be looked at in
That's
conjunction.
the old, what do you call it, the farm, and then that other parcel we were just talking about, I believe it's this, no.
It's Janet Brown's land, isn't that like?
Giller off
Oh,
Clark
it's on
Street, is this one here.
Okay.
I'm gonna look up and see what my
So
notes
you have
say.
access to that.
So,
He only has a
Zero Little
access
Mountain
on the
is-
side road here.
I'm just looking up my notes.
We did that.
Right, as you can see it actually in the plan. So, to get to this, you have to get
Wish I
to
had
that.
better eyes. I think it's this, okay.
Because this is all zoned industrial.
I believe it's all under CR, actually conservation restriction
Okay.
with Kestrel.
Yeah,
And no frontage either if it's
Right.
zero, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, good point.
So-
No
so-
frontage.
So Zero Little Mountain will remove its conservation and no frontage. And then this Pioneer Valley
yeah, we
Railroad.
can cross that out. It came up that we're close to buying that rail bed.
Okay, I just
And
want,
that's 45 acres of narrow.
it's like a strip,
track.
right?
Unless you want to line the cruisers.
I just decided I wasn't gonna take anything off, but until we're in committee.
Good.
I'm sorry, did we cross out 275 College?
We left that on there, it kind of needs to be looked at to some degree in
For breeding,
conjunction with
I guess.
89 Clark Street,
Yeah.
but we'll leave it on. So we have, after going through the top half of the list, we have 5 for consideration: 89 Clark Street, 17 East Street, 79 Clark Street, 0 Fomer Road, and 275 College Highway. Going down to the second half, what are everyone else's thoughts on these first few that are in the 5-acre range with a house on them?
One of them's owned by Don Warren.
Mary wants to donate.
I heard that too.
I heard that too.
Yeah.
That's subject to the approval of the Supreme High Commander.
I think we can probably jump down to
Do we want to jump?
10. Well,
Well, the one, Clark Street, Marmon Keystone, that's kind of in the discussion part.
Right.
Should we leave that on?
So do we want to leave 1 Clark Street on there?
I think it's the same.
It's the
property.
building
It's
lot.
the same project.
The building.
that's the
Okay,
building.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
so we'll just have 79 Clark Street,
Yeah.
kind of covers that.
Right.
Okay.
And I think Bruce Coombs, that's right where Heritage Survey
That
is.
is Heritage Survey, yeah.
So it doesn't seem like there would be a ton of room there,
No.
I don't know. but-
No,
Unless we
Okay.
bumped him up.
And then the 2 High Street properties,
Yeah.
72 and 76, we kind of sound like High Street's not the way to go.
and the first one too.
Yep.
That's gone.
And then 201 College Highway,
23.
That is gonna be the wetland, so that's gonna be just before the town hall. So that's gonna be that property right over there. It's gonna be between the cemetery and the town hall.
okay.
Oh, okay.
So they do have a house there.
There was a house there, I think that's the house that was demolished.
The house that was demolished is still town-owned land.
That's town.
That's town owned?
Yeah, it's next to it though.
You're right, yeah, it's right next
Same,
to it.
same.
It's right up the hill.
So is that something,
No,
No.
I don't think so.
it's all wetlands out there.
14 High Street, I think is,
That's still
High-
Janet Brown. Yeah.
right.
So that's trust.
And John Martin doesn't live there anymore. This is what was on the assessors though. That land was sold
Right.
on
So-
Clark Street. It's right across, it's the intersection of Route 10 and Clark, but it's on the, west side?
I think that land was subdivided too.
It was subdivided.
And it's a little dated, I think this, because they came to
Yeah.
the planning board with a subdivision plan
Mhm.
in order to build another house out there. so.
If you want about John Martin's, I actually did the preliminary design. There is a perk test off of High Street for that, and he was going to fracture that off as a lot.
Yeah,
The rest of that land was so wet and buried old barns and everything else, that there was no usable land there to build another house.
That's like an archaeological site.
Okay, so 106 Clark is probably off the list.
I would take it off the list, I wouldn't look at that as a...
Okay. These 3 High Street properties, 78, 70M, and 56, are any of these worth considering, or all High Street should be crossed off?
I don't think they should be considered.
Yeah, I would take them all off.
And then this last is this Grindstone Realty.
That's the
Does anybody know what's happening in the back there?
Yep, I do. It's 100% agricultural. They're going to do hay back there. It's
Oh, okay.
all under protection, so it's...
Beautiful view.
Yeah, they're getting
Yeah.
money from, not money, from the state through the APR programs, I believe.
Yeah.
So the entire lot, land, 55 acres is APR?
Yeah, I believe
Believe
so.
so, yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's nothing there on this bottom
Yeah,
half
okay.
then? That's what it
Randy,
sounds like.
just so you know, the price of hay jumped from $4 to $12 a bale.
Oh,
It's
wow.
probably gonna go even higher. The
Wow.
running joke at the farms now that it's not to invest in the stock market, but invest in hay.
Right.
Well, he's
Wow.
gonna have a
Wow.
bunch of
Well, that's good.
So that's why you're carrying a lot of eggs and more hay?
Yeah, and the state's paying for it.
Is that due to the international conflict in part because of Ukraine being such a supplier of hay and wheat? No.
Actually, it's
No,
all,
discussion here.
it's all rolling, even the bees we keep like 2,000 beehives, and they're now getting calls to go out and basically pollinate the wheat fields and stuff like that because there's a major production increase in the center of the country to try to do that. The whole agricultural operations has changed tremendously around here.
Yeah.
Around here being the United States.
Right.
So we do still have another half an hour. I know there's a couple properties that have been, well, one in particular has been talked about on this next page. Do we want to try and look quickly through this next page? And
Sure.
I think if we have the half-mile list and the 1-mile list done, that would be a good place that we could, add those to an Excel sheet and actually maybe next meeting come up with a list
Yeah.
of properties. I mean, I think that we're not that far away from,
Yeah. And just so you know, I just figured, mostly because the senior center is a little bit different, but public safety complex, when I mentioned, well, how about, would you consider going as far down as like Big Y area? No, that's too close to Easthampton. So I wasn't sure where that line was. So these last two are basically mile 1 to mile 2 away from Center Street, if you know what I mean.
right, I think this.
We might not even want to look at it at all, I don't know.
I think this next one, though, that's, a half
Yeah.
mile to 1 mile, I know has some stuff that people are interested in.
Okay.
So it sounds like Moose Brook, these two first properties on Moose Brook. Moose Brook probably wasn't ideal if it's not ideal for town-owned, right, in terms of location, or is that, am I being presumptuous there? Moose Brook Road and then 22 Moose Brook Road.
Well, if you
Moose
look,
Brook Road, that's gonna be the farm. That's gonna be the farm across from
Yeah.
Scott Road.
if you see,
Oh,
there's
it's
three,
right there.
there's three
Yeah.
corrals there, Teresa, and Charles. It's pretty much all the farm when you take the
Oh.
left onto Moose Brook on either side. I'm assuming it's APR. Cindy, do you know?
I
It's
have
not
to look.
protected.
It's not, huh?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so either. I mean, there's a map up there, it's dated, but there's a map up there, but I don't think it's APR protected.
Okay.
So would a facility on the corner of Moose Brook and the highway, right in that cornfield, is that? I know it's out of town, but it's on the highway. As far as being the more distant ones, would that be considered? Well, wait a minute, that says 3 acres.
There's a few, though, if you go down to 299 College Highway and then Moose Brook Road that has 20 acres down below.
I wonder if, could it be that the 3 acres is the house lot?
No, because it's, the top one is all vacant.
Oh, right.
But down below 7 Moose Brook is
Is the
has a
house lot.
colonial.
That's 33 acres, is the house lot.
So it seems like between all of that, kind of looking at it as a group, there might be something worth looking at there.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm only guessing, but if I remember right, when that family started divvying up properties a long time ago, they cut out lots, but they never did anything with them. If you go down Route 10 towards the golf course on the left, you'll see a couple of houses that were in the cornfield that they had divvied out probably 20 years ago or something like that. So these lots of 3 acres, 3.5 acres, that kind of stuff, I suspect that those lots were cut out years ago, and they just never did anything, they just kept planting corn and...
Well, those, it seems as though those being, oh, wait a minute, we're on Moose Brook.
So if you look at down the bottom, there's 33 acres on Moose Brook, that's Edwin Goral. And then if you go up, there's 3 acres on Moose Brook, Charles Goral, and then there's 2 other ones, Teresa Goral. If you notice, she lives at 144 Russellville Road, but the lots are in her name, and that's a 5-acre lot and then a 20-acre.
I think they broke them all up years ago, and that's what we're looking at. Also, we're looking at some people that have passed away here.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gone.
So,
Well, the farm, there's still little baby cows.
yeah, I understand that.
I
But
see them every day when I go by, but the cornfield, I don't know, I guess, what do you think?
What do you think about that exit entry?
It's not ideal, but we could keep it on if we just wanted to like general stuff, but.
For the spreadsheet list for next time?
Yeah,
We can keep it
we
on.
can rule it up.
Okay.
I think we have to keep looking at it, just keep
Yeah.
looking closely, yeah.
Okay, so maybe what I'll do is include, say, the intersection of Moose Brook and College Highway, Goral family,
Girl family,
rather
that sounds
than
good.
listing all 5 of these.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. 22 Moose Brook Road, this is someone else? That's 3 acres.
That is, I know that's going to be, if you're,
Is that wet over to the left?
it's on the left, if you're going up towards from Route 10 to the transfer station, it's going to be,
the
it's
bottom one?
it's a house up on a hill, so no,
Yeah,
that's
forget
not, that
Okay.
wouldn't be working. That wouldn't work.
Is it? There's a stream.
So that's 22 Moose Brook is being crossed off.
Okay. 0 Lynn Drive?
Yeah, that just means there's no frontage there, but
Right,
that's a
so-
lot in conjunction with the last one there, the 41.5 acres, that's the one that's Labrie.
Oh, okay.
But there is a lot there at the end of Lynn.
So we'd consider that more as this last one, as the College Highway?
Yeah,
So are we crossing off 0 Lynn?
I was gonna cross it off and then look at it, I guess, as the
Yeah,
last
I'd
on this
cross it
top
off.
half. Foamer Road, Red Brook Estates Realty, 5 acres. This doesn't have a
That's
number.
probably the bridge.
It says Suite 1, though.
no, that's the address of the Red Brook Estates Realty Trust.
Oh.
I don't
I
know,
suspect that's the undeveloped location where the Red Brook goes through.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's probably not
So,
consideration.
so the 299 College Highway and then Moose Brook Road, Teresa Coral will consider as one, like we talked about. College Highway rear, Howland, I'm guessing that doesn't have road access if it's rear?
That is going to be when you exit the ice cream place there. There's that house right where the locks are for the, that's all their property behind, so that's the river, that's Manhattan.
Oh,
River.
Yeah,
So that would be
Yeah.
no.
Ann Howland has expressed an interest in conserving that land.
Okay. So we'll take that off this list. Brickyard Road.
how far up is that? That's a lot of land.
That is going to be Brickyard Road Extension, so again, you go
Oh.
towards the transfer station, and just as you see the bridge, you look to the left,
Yeah,
and you can see Brickyard Extension.
Oh, yeah.
That's that property. That wouldn't be,
that wouldn't be, no.
that's all wet.
Yeah, there was some,
114R, is 114R mean rear? Brickyard
yes.
Road?
That's
Alice
Amanda's
Adonis.
family. I
Yeah,
think.
that's her mother, actually.
So that's regular Brook and not the extension, right?
2890.
Brickyard starts being pretty hilly, I think. Anybody know that property?
They don't.
2893. Just don't go in order.
If it's the south side of College Highway, it's pretty hilly and valley, you wouldn't be able to put...
Drops off pretty steep.
Yeah.
So I think,
And if it's going the other way, well, it doesn't...
It's hilly up.
Yeah, plus what?
Yeah. I don't know, do you see it on there? It's 38, it's gotta be a quarter of a mile from Route 10.
93, 893. I don't know where it is. 74. They're not
If you
in
look-
any order here.
I suspect, if you're looking at.
Oh, here it is.
I think it's
That's-
on Brickyard
That's
Road.
Howland.
Yeah, that's
Where it would be
Howland.
behind Holland's property.
2893. It's behind Howland's?
That's what I suspect.
Oh, here it is, right
It's
here.
114.
So no road access?
No, it doesn't appear to be. It's landlocked and there's, the Manhan is right there.
Okay, we'll cross that off.
That's the Zedonis property
Yeah.
we're crossing off.
So Zero College Highway, Eugene LeBrie. This is the property people have been talking about, I assume, right?
Yep.
So this one we'll leave on the list?
No, that's not zero, that's zero.
No, it's not the same one.
Well,
not
it's
the
the one
same.
that's 41.5, so yeah, I don't know why it's listed as
90,
zero.
19.
I know there is a property on College Highway that we should be looking.
Nineteen,
1941.
141.
Are we looking at the building ones, or are we still on the land?
I was just
That's the
looking at that
vacant land.
19141 Zero College Highway.
Riverdale, Gun, one. Yeah, it's right there. It's the one
So it
across
turns out-
from the law office.
Okay, so we'll leave that on the list.
Yeah. It's 40 acres, right?
So the two we got from this are Zero College Highway, Eugene LeBrie, and then Goral Family, kind of that collection for consideration. Do we want to run through the second half of this list that has properties on them?
I don't see a reason.
Why not? Is there some reason why we
Let's
wouldn't?
see, the Edwin Goral property might be considered still, because that's a lot of acreage.
But isn't that the same as what we got?
That's kind of what we already talked about.
So that's
the
kind of
Coral
the
family
family.
will include all the,
Okay, all of
At the
that.
corner there of Moose Brook College Highway, that whole, and then Ann Howland, we said that's conservation.
Well, she is discussing it, so it's not to say automatically remove
Okay.
it, but she is thinking of it.
I mean, I just am saying that's 35 acres.
Yeah. It's worth keeping it on the list and we can ask her.
So do we want to leave
Let's just
that?
go over the order, let's go through the order.
Yeah.
so we don't miss anything.
I agree, okay. So 5.7 acres, 25 Caitlin Way. I'm not familiar with
It's a
that.
residential area, then you'd have to actually
That's
exit it.
Neighborhood.
Cul-de-sac.
Yeah,
It'd be a
okay.
cul-de-sac.
So that would be a no. 280 College, Keller.
That is on the opposite side of the Howland, so that's the river right across from the
Right.
Sheldon's Ice Cream, so that's not.
Oh.
No, that won't do.
134 College Highway.
yeah, that's the
Longhill Gardens.
apartments, we can
Yeah.
cross out.
19 Fulmer Road.
That's Sungus, part of Sungus. I think that's, most of it's probably the river, right?
That's Red Brook down there.
Right.
So
I don't think that would be a
that's
very good
probably too
site.
wet.
Yeah, I think it's very wet.
Okay. 298 College Highway.
Oh,
Yeah, that's-
Lunas.
Tammy's house, we should take the house and all. Right?
Eminent domain.
Yeah, done.
I mean,
I
it's,
like watching this right now.
I know, that's why I said it.
it's 9 acres, I don't know, I'm not familiar with the lot.
It's across from like the Moose Brook.
Yeah, no, I kind of know it, but,
Corner of Brickyard.
sounds like probably
It's
no.
very much a residential lot at this point,
Yeah.
right? It's a very big
Yeah.
house, beautiful house.
Okay,
Very beautiful house, Tammy.
so, 7 Moose Brook will,
Everybody in agreement that it should be not considered? I mean, I don't think that,
I don't see the land's
okay,
topography lending itself to do anything.
okay.
okay.
Also, it
Plus
would
the-
appear that the house is sort of central to that lot, too.
Yeah.
It's-
Oh, we can move the house.
7 Moose Brook will be kind of considered as part of the Goral family. And then,
We're back to the Howland one.
yeah, we're back to the Howland, which, so that isn't all landlocked.
That's 35 acres, that's a lot.
but Is that worth
28,
considering? I know
82.
she was talking about
I
conservation,
think we
but.
should, I
On
don't
top
think
of-
we should speak for her. I think we should.
I don't know how you access it.
Oh, really?
Because
Okay.
you have the river on one side, the river goes through her property, and then there's houses lined up on Brickyard.
Okay.
There's houses behind.
Yeah, right.
So you would have no access to it.
So that's backland, but it includes the house, is what you're saying. It's the front of the, because it has a number on the
Sure,
college
sure.
highway. So
That is the
that
house,
is the
right.
house and then
And then it's
And
backland.
it's all behind.
That's their
Okay.
land, yeah, I mean, that's their house.
Oh, so
You're
the house
absolutely
is the
right.
front.
See, that's their house, and then this is, it's right there.
Oh, so how would you get back to the bigger
Right.
You would-
area?
So that's not
And
an
it's,
option,
this
right?
is
Yeah.
the river.
Okay.
It's a lot of land, but it's all, be good to conserve.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Right,
Okay.
that's really my.
So we'll eliminate 286. So it looks like what we have from
You need to talk.
the private is 0 College Highway, Labrie, Goral Family, and then back from our first page, 89 Clark, 17 East, 79 Clark, 0 Fomer, and 275 College. So I can add these to an Excel sheet, like Marcus suggested, and then we can all, do research, even, we really shouldn't go look at the private properties, I suppose, other than driving by, but the town-owned, take a look, and then, does everyone think it'd be reasonable next week to try and narrow it down to 2 town-owned and maybe 3 privately owned, or something along those
Something like
lines?
that.
We're not worried about the 1 to 2 mile ones. Just-
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
I personally think we have enough that are close. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
At least for now.
Right.
If it comes up, if we come up short, then maybe we could spread the net a little bit further, but I think we should work with these.
I mean, I think that maybe John and Ian can look at it too, I mean, to see if they could, if any of them kind of jump out as even doable, but, because some of them you can cross right out, like the ZIPTA trustee, that's conservation. Like I said, I didn't do any overlays, so some of these you can, I don't want to spend the time now, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
they may very well be able
Right.
to
If
cross them
something
right off
jumps
the
out
list.
as a
Yeah.
good opportunity. All right, well, for now, what I'll do is create something with the 4 town properties, and then these 5 plus 2, 7 privately owned, and we can all plug information in and take a look at it, go through a review next meeting, and then do a vote. I guess think about the best ways. Everybody votes on maybe 2. We'll have to think about that. In terms of anything else on potential lot status, I guess?
Can I ask a question, because I don't understand? What are the major drawbacks to just building right behind the fire station? The only thing I hear is ledge. Is that why it's not the most ideal location? It's certainly the most central, and that's my question, as a resident of the town, a non-engineer resident.
No, I think it's premature to say that's a bad spot.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these have equal ability to be evaluated.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the biggest reason that the ledge in the back became an issue was when we were trying to get a drive-through. It required a lot of excavation to get a driveway all the way around.
I see.
So it's not that we're eliminating.
Okay.
That's as valuable as, it deserves an equal lens of, examination as all these parcels.
Yeah, if we
Okay.
take out the fire station, it's even more viable.
Okay.
Yeah, we just build a police station.
Okay. Thank you, Mark.
Charlie, did you have anything, or is that covered?
Well, 2 things happened during that planning. One was, as Mark says, the drive-around driveway. That made a large footprint there. The other thing the previous committee was trying to do was preserve the old fire station.
Right. Which
But
had an
if you're
impact.
taking the old fire station as part of the footprint now, and you're not looking at building a turnaround driveway, then you've enhanced that property considerably.
Okay.
Okay. So it's definitely still one of the 4 we have on our
Okay.
list. Okay. So do we want to try and set some target dates, I guess, are there any subcommittee reports before I gloss over that? I don't think we,
No.
okay.
What are the subcommittees? It's
We just
basically,
had the video.
It's the video.
it's really just the video from
Yeah.
Easthampton Media? Okay.
I just had that on here.
Okay,
Target dates, in terms of I think right now our main charge is to present a list to the select board. I think we've made actually a lot of progress today. What do you guys think about, is it reasonable to get information, discuss it in next meeting and vote, and, are we,
July 1,
what?
July 1, we present recommendation.
Well, the question she's asking, can we vote next
Yeah, I'm wondering, I
meeting?
mean, how
Kind of
much,
hard to say until we get some information.
get some information, see if we need anything else. So that next meeting is in 2 weeks on May 23rd.
Well, I have to just say that I think it would be great if we wait until after the town meeting, because we just have so much, I mean, we're close to having everything all done, because the town meeting was now delayed to June 7th.
Right.
But if we can have a joint meeting with the select board on June 21st, that would be the first meeting after, or, you know,
Yeah,
like,
I like that.
right after that. That seems like it gives us plenty of time.
Yeah, so let's make that a target. Joint meeting with select board, June 21st.
Which is what, 2 meetings prior.
I don't know if there would be, I mean, if the town meeting is on the 7th, I mean, that's really when everything gets done. It just seems like the one after that would be July 5th, which I think that's, I don't know what the schedule will be, but I just think that we should be able to do something by the 21st.
Yeah, June 21st, and it'd be nice if we could get something to the select board for, you know, folks to take a look at, rather than presenting it at the meeting. I mean, we'll present
Yeah.
at the meeting,
Yeah.
but have something to take a look ahead of time. What do you guys think about the 21st of June?
It's a great
Try for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's 2 full meetings.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I think it's perfect.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. So anything else not on the agenda? I know we kind of backburnered the safety inspection again. Is there anything else anyone would like to discuss? Okay. So our next meeting will be in 2 weeks on the 23rd. Does that work for the majority of people? Okay. All right. Anything else?
4:30 PM here.
Yes. Good. I will, has everybody been getting emails when the minutes go out?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll get that Excel sheet up, it'll probably be Wednesday, and I'll send everybody an email once that's up, and then we can just have, you know, space for information, I think what we should try and do personally for the Excel sheet is keep it to factual information. I kind of would, Chiefs, I would say, you know, is more your opinion. If it's on the functionality, would be definitely valuable, but I'd rather keep opinion and discussion to the meeting and keep what we put in a spreadsheet as more like factual. Statistical, yeah. Does that make sense?
Do you want me
Absolutely.
to explore, or I could start with Ed, I guess, the idea of if it was a residentially zoned property, could the town build on it? The question came up from Charlie. I think we should at least explore what that would take, whether we,
Yeah.
as a town, can look at it. I could ask at the planning board.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We
Yeah,
should talk-
whether we can just do it or whether it would require a zone change.
Correct,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's-
So, but I want the question asked.
Yeah, I think that would be great, Cindy.
You don't think it matters? No?
Good to know, though.
Okay.
All right, anything else? Otherwise, I'll take a
What was the
motion.
target date for the meeting with the select board?
21st.
We're talking about
June
June 21st.
June 21st?
Yeah. So we still have a little time.
June 7th is the town meeting. So it would be the meeting after the town meeting, I think.
Yeah, we don't want to roll into July because vacations will start kicking.
Right, right.
Town elections are?
June, May 17th.
Next weekend.
Next week, Tuesday.
5/17, and there's a concern about, there's not a lot of advertising of them. People are asking me, when are they, you know?
Yeah, there's- yeah.
We're gonna put some nice message boards out.
Good, thanks so much, that'd be good.
One other thing, your Google site, I couldn't load anything onto it.
Okay. I must have it as read-only or something. I'll check
read
that.
only on
I'll change that. All right, anything else?
I moved to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks,
Thank you very
everybody.
much. Thank you.
And I think we're...
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.